tonight we're exploring the difficult road to recovery that some addicts are not fortunate enough to make it through. The Sunrise Center in Alpena specializes in drug or alcohol rehabilitation with a primary focus on substance abuse treatment. Over the years, the center has seen a shift from when it mainly saw patients who suffered from alcohol abuse.
Currently, our biggest number of clients are opiate users. The unfortunate part about heroin and really opiate use is that we don't get older clients who are opiate users because they die or they get sober. But definitely an increase in numbers, a significant increase in numbers.
Jen is a clinical supervisor at the center and has been there for 3 years, where she started as a clinician. Is there a certain case that stuck out to you in your experience?
Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy Vogt's heroin addiction started just over 3 years ago when he was put on prescription painkillers.
When I started getting into criminal trouble, I talked to my doctor and I told him I wanted to get off of them. And it was at that point that I realized this was a bigger thing than I had thought. That's when I started buying drugs on the street, heroin. That's how that all turned into that.
Similar to Andy's situation, Lori Ames witnessed crime take hold of her son's life at the peak of his addiction, just before he chose the recovery path as well.
This is the only disease that drives you to criminality, and you want to protect them for as long as you can, when they first start stealing from you personally and doing things that are so out of character that you'd never dream they would have done, they never dreamed they would have done, but they're just so driven by the addiction.
The addiction. It's heroin's incredibly addictive nature that makes it stand out amongst other drugs. It causes the pleasure portion of the brain to essentially work in overtime, creating higher levels of dopamine, killing any pain, and creating tranquility.
This drug takes everything from you, and it takes everybody from you, and so basically you're trying to start a whole new life with this stigma of being an addict. It's that much harder to start over.
Andy was different than most addicts, though. He came to the center more than willing to get better, and rather than staying as an inpatient for just the required 30 days, he asked for funding to stay for 90. After countless hours of soul-searching and cognitive behavioral exercises, Andy became an outpatient on his 89th day.
I see me getting my life back. A lot of addicts don't have that to look forward to.
It wasn't until Andy became involved in drug-related crimes that he was able to receive funding to come to the center in the first place, an issue that is faced far too often by addicts. Now he's working to fix that, among other things.
I'd like to give back to the still suffering addict, because it's not an easy road. Every addict, I truly believe, wants to get better. We all know in active addiction that something needs to change. It just comes down to how bad we want it.
In Alpena, Lindsay DeLucia, WBKB News. Tune in next week when we'll be featuring a special series on school safety in our area.